before steel railroads carved through valleys, before stars and stripes claimed every corner of this land. There were nations here, thousands of them, with languages shaped by the wind, stories older than stone, and warriors whose names still ripple through time. These are 5 of them, not myths, not mascots, but human beings, flesh, fire, and spirit. Legends, not because they wanted to be, but because they had no other choice. Imagine a man standing alone on a prairie, eyes closed, arms raised to the sky. He hasn't eaten in days. He's been dancing, chanting, calling to the spirits. And then, a vision. Soldiers falling upside down, like grasshoppers in summer. That man was Sitting Bull, a Lakota holy man and chief. His vision would change history. Born around 1831 in what is now South Dakota, Sitting Bull grew up during a time of immense upheaval. The buffalo herds were thinning, and the U.S. government was swallowing land faster than treaties could be broken. But Sitting Bull didn't believe in surrender. When he united the Lakota with the Cheyenne and Arapaho in 1876, he helped lead the Native alliance that crushed General Custer at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. It was not just a military victory, it was a prophecy fulfilled. But the government never forgot. As reservation conditions worsened and the ghost dance movement spread hope of a rebirth, they feared he might ignite another resistance. On a cold December morning in 1890, they came to arrest him. He refused to go quietly. Shots rang out. Sitting Bull fell, dead not just as a man but as a symbol of everything they wanted to erase. Yet his name still stands. In songs, in ceremonies, in memory. We often hear her name. We see it on coins, schools, even statues. But do we know who she really was? Sacagawea was born around 1788 in what is now Idaho. A Shoshone girl, her early life was torn apart when she was kidnapped by a rival tribe and later sold to a French-Canadian trapper. She was just a teenager, barely 16, when she was pulled into one of the most important expeditions in American history, the Lewis and Clark Expedition. With her baby son cradled on her back, she helped guide the expedition through harsh terrain, dangerous rivers, and fragile diplomacy. She wasn't just a translator, she was a cultural bridge. Her presence often signaled to wary native tribes that this wasn't a war party. When food was scarce, she gathered roots and berries. When paths vanished, she remembered ancient trails. Once, when a boat capsized, it was Sacagawea who rescued precious documents, instruments, and supplies, without being asked. She asked for no glory, and history gave her little. Some say she died young. Others say she lived into her 90s. But what's certain is this. She helped guide the U.S. across a continent. And she did it without a weapon, just wisdom, instinct, and unbreakable resolve. When the forests began to fall, when treaties were broken with a handshake and a smirk, one man dreamed of something bigger. Tecumseh, born in 1768, was a Shawnee warrior and orator unlike any other. He saw clearly what others refused to see, that no single tribe could stand alone against U.S. expansion. So he traveled, thousands of miles, to speak with chiefs from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico. He said, "This land was never divided. It belongs to all of us. If one tribe sells it, they all lose." His words carried thunder. He warned that no more land should be sold, that it was time to stand together or fall apart forever. Alongside his brother, a spiritual leader known as the Prophet, Tecumseh built Prophetstown, a hub for resistance and unity. But the dream faced fire. In 1811, while Tecumseh was away, U.S. forces burned Prophetstown to the ground. So Tecumseh took up arms, this time as a British ally during the War of 1812. At the Battle of the Thames, he fought his last fight. His body was never recovered, his dream never fulfilled. But today, his message echoes louder than ever. Unity, sovereignty, resistance. Most warriors carry spears. Wilma Mankiller carried a clipboard, a plan, and a fierce belief in her people. Born in 1945 in Oklahoma, Wilma grew up in an America that saw Native identity as something to erase. She endured racism. She survived a near-fatal car crash. She overcame a serious kidney disease, but she never stopped believing. In 1985, she became the first woman to serve as principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. And she did more than make history, she made progress. Under her leadership, infant mortality dropped, education access rose, tribal self-governance strengthened. She wasn't interested in speeches, she was interested in systems, how to help people help themselves. She once said, "The secret of our success is that we never give up." Wilma Mankiller taught a generation that being Cherokee wasn't about history books. It was about future building. And when she passed in 2010, the nation didn't just lose a leader, it lost a mother. His name made soldiers tremble. His escapes baffled generals. And even today, his story haunts the desert wind. Geronimo, born in 1829, was a member of the Cherokee Apache. He became a warrior after Mexican soldiers massacred his mother, wife, and children. From that moment, he lived for justice or revenge. For decades, Geronimo led raids across Arizona, New Mexico, and Mexico. No one could catch him. He knew the terrain like his own heartbeat. He could vanish into a canyon, strike at night, and be gone before dawn. He surrendered, then escaped, again and again. Until finally, in 1886, the U.S. threw nearly a quarter of its army at him. They caught him, not because he gave up, but because his people were starving. Geronimo became a prisoner of war for the rest of his life. Yet oddly, he became a celebrity, appearing at world fairs, riding in parades. But they paraded him like a trophy, not a man, and still, he never bowed. When he died in 1909, he asked to go home. He never did. But his name? Still whispered in Apache prayers. Still carved into the soul of the Southwest. They came from different tribes. They lived in different centuries. But they all carried one thing, the fire to protect their people, even when the world said it was impossible. These were not relics. They were revolutionaries. And they remind us that the past is never truly gone, because eras fade, but stories endure.